More bets, better odds at PlaySugarHouse.com. Sign up today at PlaySugarHouse.com and don't forget to use our promo code PIKE to take advantage of their first deposit match up to $250. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Welcome to Turnpike Sports. I'm Dave Whiteshuttle, and as always, I'm joined by my producer and co-host, Doug Whiteshuttle. Doug, I guess it's the last time we're going to hear about the Super League.
Yeah, that was kind of
a blatant money grab. That's what that was.
A flash in the pan, really. It fell apart before it really even started.
Well, good.
Yeah, it was kind of
good for the fans that fought back on that one.
I don't know if it was the fans or a combination of the fans and the league that they were taking the teams from.
Well,
because it happened right at the time when all the media deals were happening, and it really devalued the overall league when those teams left or decided to leave.
Well, like we said, that's the last time you're going to hear about the Super League because we've got a great show coming up for you. We got the By the Number segment where Doug gives me a number and we let the numbers do the talking. We also have a Turnpike Sports book report where we talk about what's going on in the sports books across the country. Then, for my interview, a very interesting thing that is going to happen. It's called BetFest, and it's happening online on May 15th, and you can check it out at betfest.live. And we're going to have one of the organizers on. He's Evan Davis. He's managing director of betting from 76 Capital Sports Advisory. And like I said, he's one of the organizers of BetFest, which is an absolutely amazing event.
It's a very unique event.
It is.
In the realm of things. Normally when we go to a quote-unquote sports betting conference, it's really business to business or B2B. This one is actually involving the consumer, the sports bettor, the wannabe sports bettor, the wannabe person who wants a career in the sports betting industry. It's very unique.
I love the fact, like you said, it has the executives in the sports betting business. It has the media personalities in the sports betting business. It has the people from academia for the sports betting business. And not only that, this is what makes it unique. It actually has professional sports bettors that will be speaking at this event.
That's a very unique angle to put into an event. Also, they're having the brands that are prevalent in the sports betting industry, not just the big names, but some of the smaller ones too. Everybody, if you're interested in the sports betting industry, even casually, you may want to check this out, betfestlive.com. There's a registration link. There's a description of the programs there. And it's actually a very, very nice program that 76 Sports Capital Sports Advisory and SBC, that's their partner in the sports betting community. SBC both of those are putting this event on, and we're glad to actually help partner with them on the media side and help get the word out.
It's a great event, and everyone should check it out. BetFestLive.com. Check it out. It's been a busy week in sports, so let's take a trip down the Turnpike. Today's trip down the Turnpike is brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to Drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using our promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with Drizzly.com.
Exit 1.
Okay, first up for the sports betting exit this week, we didn't have a chance to talk about this. UNLV released a study about maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and it was called the Sports Wagering and Advertising in the United States study.
Which is a great study for living. If you're living in New Jersey or Pennsylvania, and
now Michigan.
And now Michigan, I was going to, and you're sitting in front of a TV, all you're going to see is commercials with sports betting. I know New Jersey and Pennsylvania has a ton of television commercials about sports betting. I'm not sure about Michigan, but I'm assuming they're going
Michigan
to have it too.
Bombarded as well. So
I'm not sure about other states, but I know New Jersey and Pennsylvania, constant.
The study released by UNLV's International Gaming Institute attempted to answer questions on how sports betting is being promoted, not just by the advertisers themselves, but also the media. And, we've seen these studies before. The American Gaming Association even released their own advertising code a couple of months ago. I think it was September, October of last year. And this study took a look at exactly what was going on in terms of how the media and the advertising was impacting society. And they actually cited England as one of the resources to look at how the advertising has impacted their society. The gambling advertising has impacted their society.
Well, I'm interested in that because if you wait for our commercial break, you hear me reading a lot of those things.
Yes.
So I'm all ears.
Well, here, this is what they cited. England, unchecked growth in sports betting, advertising, and messaging has led to a backlash and a pumping of the brakes by the government and also some of the sports leagues in terms of gambling advertising.
Interesting.
The stadiums, the shirts, all that stuff. Italy, all gambling advertising has been banned since 2019. And in Spain, they're imposing new restrictions on gambling advertising. A lot of places in the United Kingdom also have this rule where it's whistle to whistle for a game where there's no gambling advertising.
Interesting. In this country, we saw a bit of a backlash a couple years ago with fantasy sports. It seemed like every commercial was daily fantasy sports, and I guess they suffered kind of a backlash. But for right now, with sports betting, there hasn't been really a backlash that I've seen yet.
It's a brand new industry for the United States. And this study had 6 recommendations.
Okay.
I'll go through a couple of them. Sports gambling operators should ensure that advertising does not target vulnerable populations, particularly youth.
Okay.
So that's under 18.
Okay.
Because some states allow gambling at 18.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that. Yeah, New Jersey here, we're 21.
Yeah. The media has a role to play in avoiding promotion of illegal gambling sites. And that's where you see some of these newspapers or some of these other TV programs or podcasts or whatever talking about offshore sites that aren't legal in the United States. If they're a United States show. I know I've seen Bovada mentioned a lot in newspapers. Odds.com.
You probably shouldn't mention them now.
I shouldn't mention them. But, that's one of the things a lot of the media in this country have to learn not to do. And that's what this study was focusing on. Sports wagering messaging should be avoided on social media platforms such as Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat, which are heavily used by teenagers.
Oh, okay.
That's a logical one.
Yeah.
And, again, our show even has an Instagram account. And, again, we post up stuff that is relevant to the show and not really gambling heavy. But, sometimes we have an advertiser that is in the show and we promote it. And, for that kind of thing, we have to be more cognizant of that as well, too. The NCAA and universities should promote more education about gambling disorders and their impact. That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
The NCAA is finally embracing sports betting, if you notice. I remember...
everyone's embracing sports betting. Even though a couple years ago they didn't like it. They didn't like it, but
the
now...
The NCAA has been very reluctant with all this stuff, and they are starting to have deals in place with certain betting operators. And I think the education component of this is probably the more important thing going forward.
Sure.
And last but not least, the AGA, the American Gaming Association, needs to be assertive in ensuring its members abide by its code and should respond to public complaints about violations. Common sense stuff.
Makes sense.
Common sense.
Exit 2.
Okay, eSports. Got a little bit of an eSports roundup going on here. I found a couple interesting stories, and I'll just tag them here and there.
Does it seem to be a busy week for eSports? It just seems like I'm seeing more stories on eSports this week.
I have to admit, the eSports industry was growing by leaps and bounds during the pandemic. I thought it would slow down a bit. It seems to be ramping up again.
Yeah.
Not the pandemic, the esports industry. Yeah. I'm sorry for that phrasing, but I think you're going to see a lot more esports industry news coming out, especially in terms of esports betting, which is what the first little rundown part here is going to be. Esports Entertainment Group. We had Grant Johnson on not too long ago. Yes.
Great interview. He's a really interesting guy.
Very, very intelligent guy. Their esports betting platform, vie.bet. Partnered with Liquipedia.net, which is an affiliate of the esports team, Team Liquid.
That's actually a team I've heard of.
And they are creating, and it's launching May 3rd, the most community-centric and responsible betting integration. They're going to be, in terms of the esports betting platform and Liquipedia.net, people who go to Liquipedia.net are going to see betting information on esports events.
That's great. No,
they're going to be making sure that there are some guidelines. There's going to be blocking software where if the person viewing this, I don't know how they're going to be able to determine this, but
they can do amazing things. A couple years back, I was amazed by the geolocation that they're using for online casinos and online poker. So I'm convinced they have technology for everything. I'm so impressed with the technology wrapped up in gaming. It's amazing.
They're going to have safety mechanisms to ensure only users of legal age view the betting odds. And also, if you are of legal age and you don't want to see it, they're going to have the ability to shut off the odds.
Okay, good.
So that's a nice little integration there. We're probably going to see that a lot more in terms of esports betting industry. And I think that's actually really great on the Esports Entertainment Group to do something like this.
That's great, yeah.
Warner Music Asia has become one of the first record companies that have a deal with an esports gaming platform. The Esports Player League has inked a multi-year deal with Warner Music Asia where the music will be embedded into their gaming platforms and broadcasts.
So as you're watching someone play their game, you're going to have the music playing behind it, right?
Licensed music.
Licensed music playing behind it, which is interesting.
This is important.
Makes sense. I can't believe this hasn't been done before.
Well, this is all because of what happened with Metallica. Back in February, they were playing a virtual concert for BlizzCon, which is a esports conference or a convention, Blizzard convention.
Okay.
And they were playing a concert for virtually. Mm-hmm. They were on screen playing, and they had the video on them and everything. As soon as they started playing, the Twitch channel cut out of the audio and overplayed jazz.
Oh, because they didn't have the license?
They had the license, but they weren't sure, so they erred on the side of caution and shut the music off and played canned music.
That must have looked weird.
It was, according to reports, it was very weird seeing Kirk Hammett do a solo, and it's a saxophone jazz solo instead of a guitar. A lot of people were upset about that.
Weird. That was weird looking.
And last but not least, for the rundown for this exit here, we have Sony filing a brand new patent. This is not an actual device yet. This is a patent filing for a system that will allow viewers of esports tournaments to change the perspective, the way they're viewing it. They don't have to follow the one player that is how it's done right now.
Okay.
It's the one-player view that you see on the Twitch channel.
All right, yeah.
You can actually switch and follow somebody else. You can follow some of the other actions someplace else.
Very interesting.
You can actually look at it from the other way where the player's coming at you, that sort of thing. It's a perspective-changing thing. And this is all in terms of varying the viewership so people don't have to follow one player.
That could almost be applied to other sports and other things and other activities. So hopefully they get the patent, because I'd be very interested to see how that works and what that looks like.
I'd be very curious to see if fan-controlled football gets involved with something
like
that. Because I watched some of that. That helmet cam stuff was actually pretty cool. And I can't wait to see next season for fan-controlled football.
Exit 3.
Okay, trademark exit. We've got another trademark battle potentially brewing, and this is, we talked last week about the post office versus Nike.
Yes, the sneaker.
The mailing package sneaker, whatever you want to call it.
The priority package sneaker or something like that. I don't know.
Priority pumps. I don't know what the hell they call them. But WWE may have a trademark battle brewing with one of their former superstars.
Okay, all right.
WWE superstar Chelsea Green. I'm not too familiar with this wrestler. She
No,
was
not-
very popular, supposedly, for the last couple of years.
Okay, all right.
Contract ended. WWE did not renew her contract. Basically, dropped her.
Okay.
From the league, and she has filed a trademark on April 15th, the same day she was released, to trademark and protect her name.
So
Chelsea Green.
So as soon as she was released, the day she was released, or the day they didn't re-up her contract, they filed a trademark in her name?
She filed a trademark.
She filed a trademark in her name.
She filed a trademark in her
Okay.
name. This is where the problem occurs. Not only did she do her name, she also did Hot Mess, which is her nickname. And she also she did this for merchandising and general entertainment and wrestling services.
Okay.
So
and that's her legal name, right?
That's her legal name.
That's her legal name. That's her birth certificate
that's her
name.
given name. That's her
okay.
given name.
So it's not a stage name or anything like that, or a character name, right?
Now, here's where a little stickiness comes in. She has a 90-day non-compete clause from the day she was let go by the WWE. Now, the WWE...
I got to be honest with you. I'm shocked it's only a 90-day non-compete.
Well, I guess maybe
I thought it'd be like a year or two.
I think probably for some of the bigger names like Bautista and The Rock, they had longer times or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Or even buyout clauses for those guys.
Yeah.
But she has a 90-day non-compete. That's a standard WWE contract when you get when you leave the company.
Know that. All right.
WWE, the wrestling organization, had already filed a trademark, Chelsea Green, back in September. So about 4 or 5 months beforehand, they had filed a trademark on her name.
Huh. Okay.
So they have that application in the pipeline. It's already been reviewed by the trademark office. The trademark office found no conflicting marks, but they did have a problem with the application. And this is where it gets interesting for trademark purposes. Mm-hmm. For people who have seen trademarks of people's names, the trademark office allows you to trademark your name as long as there's a business purpose attached to it.
All right.
And if you're the owner of that name, if it's your name, if you sign the application electronically, physically, however you sign it, the trademark office doesn't have a problem with that.
I would assume also if with your trademark filing you present evidence such as a birth certificate or some kind of federal ID, I guess that goes a long way in showing that's your actual name.
You can do it that way. You don't need to, according to the trademark office, as long as you're signing the application to trademark your own name and it's a valid business purpose and it's not a generic filing. You're not filing Bob. You know?
Okay, Bob.
Yeah. She's filing Chelsea Green.
Which is her name.
And WWE filed Chelsea Green, which is not their name, but it's their wrestler. The trademark office has sent back a non-final office action against the WWE's application. And this is where, if you're not the owner of the name being filed, they need to file a statement saying they own the name Chelsea Green, or they need a affidavit or a signed document saying she gives them permission to file the application.
Which I'm assuming she did not do.
Given the fact that she is no longer part of the WWE, I would assume you may see either some sort of filing against it, some opposition. Again, you don't know what the contract between the wrestling league and her had. There may be some sort of transfer of IP for her name.
I guess the determining factor is any contract she signed with the WWE.
Exactly.
Because it is her legal name. I mean, it's not a character name.
No,
so this should be very interesting to see how this turns out.
I'm very
Could
curious.
it go either way, or does she have like an inside track to this thing, or what's your thought?
Right now,
we just don't know because of the contract.
We don't know because of what the contract says.
Okay.
If the contract had a transfer of intellectual property in terms of her wrestling name, and unfortunately, if she wrestled under her real name, there may be some issues there in terms of who owns the intellectual property.
Okay.
But again, the trademark office wants either some kind of evidence that they have the right to file that trademark. The league I'm talking about. The league has the right to file the trademark, or they have permission from Chelsea Green to file a trademark of her name for the wrestling company. Yeah. Now, the other thing is the wrestling company could actually bring her back at some point if they wanted to. Who knows?
So, I like the fact you referred to the WWE as the league.
Well, I don't know what else to call it anymore.
It's a company. I don't know. What is it? It's not a league. Is it wrestling?
Technically, I guess you can call it that. I don't know.
WWE.
World Wrestling Entertainment. I can't
Yeah.
call it the WWF anymore because that's the World Wildlife Foundation. So that's why they had to change WWF to WWE, by the way, because WWF is owned by the Wildlife Company.
Exit 4.
And last but not least, we're going to talk some MLB.TV. Now, that's the streaming channel for the Major League Baseball organization.
Who, by the way, is apparently doing very well.
Well, I think the pandemic has changed a lot of viewing habits, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Major League Baseball already reported the opening day of the 2021 season. This season that's currently going on was the most watched in MLB.TV history. Users had a total of 121 million minutes on the platform. That's opening day only.
And that's streaming, right?
Yeah, that's the streaming channel. That's up 26% on the previous high, which was last year, as a matter of fact. Now, what they have released recently here is the first 18-day period of the new season. This is the most watched 18-day period on MLB.TV streaming history. They have had viewers, 18 days starting from the opening round of fixtures on April 1st, have had fans watching more than 1.34 billion minutes of live games.
Wow.
That's a 12% increase on the first 18 days of last year's season that was pandemic shortened. 43% increase compared to the same period of the 2019 season. Now, that kind of makes sense because I don't think a lot of people in 2019 were really paying attention to the streaming services.
You know what it also tells me, and I could be completely wrong about this, that maybe viewership of MLB is getting younger. Because, look, perfectly honest, I watch baseball on TV. I don't stream it. So, and I'm not of the age where, I'm not of the streaming generation kind of thing. But, that's kind of telling me, which I could be wrong. It could kind of be telling me that MLB is finding a younger audience, which is great.
Well, again, I think it's a matter of some of
and I hope I'm right.
the younger audience is part of it, but I also think the viewing habits have changed because of the pandemic. I mean, a lot of people couldn't go out, and the MLB.TV allows people to see out-of-market games.
Yeah.
And they can see them in their entirety. They could actually have one on their computer and one on TV.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. Plus, also, you got to remember, MLB.TV started a betting show.
Yes.
So I'm wondering maybe the viewership is also affected by some of the betting operators out there in terms of people watching more on MLB.TV because they actually have the ability to switch between the betting show and going to an actual game, because the betting show is on MLB.TV, leads right into games.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, if you're watching something on your phone, it also means a lot of people are betting on their phone too. So it's in your hand anyway, and you might as well, if you're going to bet on it, you might as well check it out.
Well, think about it now. You can also, some of your computers now, with the way Windows or whatever Apple operating system is on your PC, you can have split windows.
Oh yeah,
at the same time. So you can
on my computer, the one sitting right in front of me, I have different, I don't even know what you call them, the labels or the tabs up on top of it. Tabs, okay, the tabs up on top of the screen, so I can switch tabs.
Well, Major League Baseball looks like they found an audience for MLB.TV.
Good for them. And today's trip down the Turnpike was brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using our promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with drizzly.com.
And as always, you can get in touch with Turnpike Sports by calling or texting us at 609-512-5910. That's 609-512-5910. At Turnpike Sports is the show's handle on Facebook and Twitter. At Turnpike Sports Radio is our handle on Instagram. And as always, our email address is info@turnpikesportsradio.com. And don't forget, you can listen to the show via Spotify, Amazon Music, iTunes, Radio.com mobile app, as well as Stitcher and YouTube. You can also watch us on your smart TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV. Head on over to turnpikesports.net. You'll be able to watch our video channel there.
Well, stick around because we got a great show coming up. We got By the Numbers segment where Doug throws out a number and we let the numbers do the talking. Then we also have the Turnpike Sports Book Report where we talk about what's going on in the sports books across the country. Then we're talking BetFest, a great event being held on May 15th. You can check it out at betfestlive.com. And I'm going to be talking to one of the organizers, Evan Davis, who's managing director of betting for 76 Capital Sports Advisory. And like I said, BetFest is such an amazing event and such a great
unique event.
Such a great concept. And we're going to hear all about it when we come back with more Turnpike Sports.
No matter what kind of car you drive, we have an insurance policy that's right for you. Need to insure your family minivan? We've got you covered. Need insurance for that new sports car you finally got? We've got you covered. Have an old beater that just won't quit? We've got you covered. Or maybe you hit the lottery and want to insure all your new cars. We've got you covered. Call Auto Insurance for Less to find out how much you can save right now. All it takes is just one call. Answer a few questions, and before you know it, we've got you covered. Call 1-800-679-0366. That's 1-800-679-0366. Auto Insurance. You want it, you need it, and we've got it. Call Auto Insurance for Less to find out how much you can save today. Better coverage at a better price is just a phone call away. Call 1-800-679-0366. That's 1-800-679-0366.
Free stuff is awesome, but free stuff that will spice up your bedroom is even better. Just go to adamandeve.com and select almost any one item for 50% off, and then we'll load on the free stuff. Just enter this very exclusive code, BABE16 at checkout, and you'll get 10 tantalizing free gifts, including a sexy item for him, a special toy for her, and a third item you'll both enjoy. And 6 extra special bonus items that are sure to rev your engine, pique your curiosity, and even blow you away. Plus, free shipping! Always sent in discreet packaging. Go to adamandeve.com now. Get 50% off plus the 10 free gifts when you enter the exclusive offer code BABE16. That's BABE16, because without it, no free stuff. That's BABE16 at adamandeve.com.
With some of the best promotions and offers in the sports betting market, PointsBet simply stands out. PointsBet is the only U.S. online bookmaker to offer points betting, where every yard, every point, every goal, even every play matters. Same-game parlays, good karma payouts, early payouts, and exclusive game day promotions and guarantees for all sports. PointsBet offers more bet types than any other bookmaker in the world, offering a unique set of markets that aren't available anywhere else. And now PointsBet is offering one of the best sign-up offers in the sports betting market today. New customers signing up with code BET21 receive 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Get up to $500 back if your first fixed odds bet loses, and up to $1,500 if your first points betting bet loses. That's code BET21 for 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000 at PointsBet. PointsBet, it pays to be fast. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Welcome back to Turnpike Sports. On May 15th, something amazing is happening in the sports betting community. An event called BetFest will be taking place, and in my opinion, it's unlike any other sports betting conference ever held. It's being organized by SBC and 76 Capital Sports Advisory, and we're going to hear all about this incredible event because on the phone we have Evan Davis, who is the managing director at 76 Capital Sports Advisory. Evan, thanks for coming on.
Oh, thanks so much for having me.
I'm going to start off about 76 Capital. I mean, it's well known in the sports industry, but for people out there who aren't quite familiar with it, tell us something about 76 Capital.
Yeah, absolutely. So 76 Capital has a venture fund that's been around for over 20 years, and over the last several years has focused on investments within sports technology. But last year, I came on board along with a few others to help launch an affiliated company called 76 Capital Sports Advisory. We've identified a handful of sports business verticals that are really growing and we think are going to continue to grow over the next few years. Sports betting, eSports, media, social responsibility sort of being chief among them. And so we brought together a handful of experts to advise companies all over the place in terms of those verticals. And so I came from Rivers Casino in Philadelphia, and I am leading our sports betting vertical, and it's been really exciting. We're about 8 or 9 months in so far, and just seeing tremendous interest from companies all over the spectrum in terms of people that are trying to do business within the sports betting ecosystem, and we're helping them to learn more about it and to do just that.
You know, sports betting and gaming is a new thing for a lot of people in this country, and I'm always interested in how people get involved in this business. I mean, you mentioned a little bit just now, but how did you become involved in the gaming and sports betting industry?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, a lot of it's just sort of recognizing when opportunity knocks and answering the door. I'm an attorney. I was looking to go in-house and found an opportunity to do that by becoming the general counsel at what's now Rivers Casino in Philadelphia. It was then called Sugar House Casino. And that was my first foray into the gaming industry. So I knew about being a lawyer, and I learned about being a lawyer within the industry. Over the course of my 5 years there, sports betting became, PASPA got thrown out, and then sports betting became legal in Pennsylvania, and we rolled that out sort of over the course that took place over the course of 2018. And I got involved in that obviously from a legal and regulatory side, but then found an opportunity to do more than that. Got involved on the operational side and on the marketing side, and got to know folks within the industry and was fascinated by it. I joke around and say that, when you're a lawyer, you look for any ways that you can to do things other than be a lawyer. I half joke about that, I guess. But this was just an opportunity to really sort of branch out from my quote unquote day job and do a lot more. And over a period of time, I really got to become an expert within this industry. And then when the opportunity arose to help launch this sports advisory group, again, it was all right. Let's take a run at it. And so, here I am. 6 years after having taken the job at Rivers and entering the industry for the first time, and now this is what I'm doing. So it's just one of those tales of, you can only predict the future so much, and otherwise you just let opportunity arise and you chase it down.
Now, we've gone through one of the most challenging times for the gambling industry because of the pandemic. I mean, as a gaming attorney myself, I have drafted documents I never thought I would. I mean, if you told me a year ago I'd have to draft a service agreement for the cleaning and sanitizing of casino chips, I would have thought you were crazy. But you're a gaming attorney yourself, and 76 Capital is at the forefront of this industry. I'm curious. What is your opinion on how the gambling industry has weathered this pandemic? Are we finally seeing light at the end of the tunnel?
It's interesting. I think one of the key accomplishments that the gaming industry achieved a few years ago that we all knew was an accomplishment, but I don't think we appreciated how valuable it was until the pandemic set in, was the advent of online casino gaming and sports betting. And because what you saw is a significant shift, I think, toward those channels for obvious reasons. When the brick and mortar channels literally shut down, right? That was the only game in town.
Yeah.
Pre-pandemic in Pennsylvania, you were seeing about 80% of sports betting handle being done online already. Post-pandemic, that number rose up to in excess of 90% in some months. So I think that having those channels at the ready was huge. We already knew pre-pandemic that online, sure, it was going to cannibalize a little bit of brick and mortar traffic, but we all looked at it as being complementary to that. And I think that now what we're seeing is that brick and mortar companies need to have those online channels in place, whether it's for the reasons that existed pre-pandemic, and now even more so, we've got customers that are leery of going back into physical spaces. So being able to do that, it's a philosophy that I think exists beyond gaming. Sports teams are looking at how do we engage our fans outside of the stadium, because now if we're being limited in our capacity in stadium, we need to touch people outside of that. So it's not unique to the gaming industry, but it's something that I think the gaming industry in particular is relying upon to make sure that they're able to not just stay afloat, but ultimately succeed and prosper through whatever our industry looks like as we come out of COVID.
What do you see as some of the challenges facing the sports betting community as we emerge from this pandemic?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the challenges, the biggest challenges are that states are continuing to legalize this, but they're doing it in a way that not all of them make a ton of sense. And they, in some ways, tie one hand behind your back before you even get up off the ground. So we've seen some quirky laws and regulations. You know, Tennessee has this 10% hold requirement that's kind of an issue. But you see what states are doing either in not launching online or launching online in a fashion like New York is going ahead with, that's just going to almost create more problems than it solves. What states need to do is look at this not necessarily as just being the biggest money maker possible, right, in the outset in terms of tax revenues, but helping the industry to grow and succeed so that long term the states can make tax revenues off of this industry, right? When we look at how other industries work within states, you know, we're a capitalistic society, and we say we don't have state-run industries by and large. We let private enterprise go out there. We being state governments, or in some cases the federal government, regulate them and we tax them, but we allow them to prosper. And I think that if the same attitude were in place vis-a-vis sports betting, that would be the best recipe for long-term success. We've seen that done in a number of states, but I think if you ask me what's the biggest risk to the success of the industry, it's going to be that too many states look at this and sort of overtax it, try to over-regulate it, and really limit the ability for the industry to succeed.
One of the incredible things you and 76 Capital and SBC are doing for the sports betting community is organizing something called BetFest. What is BetFest, and what inspired its creation?
Yeah, we're so excited to be launching BetFest in conjunction with SBC. SBC has been putting on some of the world's best and greatest sports betting business conventions for years. I mean, they're a UK-based company, and they've been doing this in the UK far before PASPA was repealed here 3 years ago. But what we're recognizing is that no one's really doing any sort of events that speak to consumers, speak to the public. There's so much interest out there about sports betting from people in states where it's been legal now, or for states that are in the process of legalizing it. We see that interest, but no one's really speaking to it. And there's still a lot of confusion out there. There are a lot of people who are interested in sports betting, but they're intimidated by it because they don't really understand it. And we think that there's a huge opportunity to speak to that group, educate that group. There's a lot of jobs that are becoming available within this industry. Major universities that are helping to sort of put forward programs to educate people and train people to work within this industry. So we think that there's a huge opportunity there, and BetFest is going to speak to all of that. We have Betting 101 on, you don't understand the language. Well, we'll teach that to you. We've got some of the world's brightest betting analysts, people that come in and really crunch these numbers and work to help give people an edge on that. We've got career HR folks coming in talking about the jobs that are available within this industry. Temple School of Sport, Tourism, Hospitality Management is going to be there, and they're going to be talking about what they're doing within this industry to help people learn more about it and be more prepared to enter the workforce. I could go on and on about the nature of topics that we've got, but we're going to be bringing on operators. We've got some bigger names coming from the media side. It's going to be a really, really exciting half-day event. It's on Saturday, May 15th. All of the information is available on betfestlive.com. And, could not be more excited to have the partners that we have in place, have the roster of speakers that we have in place. We've got some fun stuff coming on board. We've got a great giveaway. Ed Miller is giving away a free copy of his ebook, The Logic of Sports Betting, to anyone who signs up and attends the event. So we just think that this is an unbelievable event, and it's really going to be groundbreaking in terms of what people have seen so far as this industry is concerned.
I got to tell you, I've been to a lot of conventions and a lot of conferences, but this is something like I've never seen before. Like you said, you have executives from the sports betting operators, you have people from colleges and universities, you have people from the sports betting media, but you also actually have actual sports bettors, which must be a first for a conference like this. What was the reason for bringing in people from all aspects of the sports betting world?
I think it's that, look, I, like you, have been to a number of these business conferences, and they are great because, we already work in this.
Yeah, we're doing business in this industry. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But, there's so many other ways to get involved in this industry, whether it's something that's just a hobby and you want to become a more educated bettor, whether it's just something you're interested in reading about the history of. We've got some long time names coming on board here, like Vic Salerno, right? And guys like him that are going to talk about like how this industry's evolved over decades, because this has been an industry in Vegas for literally decades. Like Art Menteris, right? These guys, they know what this industry's been and what it's become. So some people are just interested in the history of it. Other people want to they say, I would love nothing more than to go work for one of these companies, but I don't even understand, right, who all of these like business-to-business suppliers are, right? Companies like BetWorks and like, Tambi and all of these companies that they exist, but people don't know exactly how the industry functions. So we really want to, in a way, like peel back the curtain a bit from what this industry is for so many people and explain it and explain the various nuances of it. And so we thought the best way to do that is to bring people together from all of these different areas and let them speak for themselves and talk about what their companies are, what they do, how micro betting works, how, we've got people talking about that have built successful companies within this industry and in some cases already exited them and how that looks. It's such a multifaceted industry, and I think the list of speakers needs to reflect that.
You raised a great point. One of the things about BetFest is that you're not only bringing in well-known people in the sports betting community, but you're also involving maybe sports betting brands that may not be household names to a lot of people. Why did you think that was important to get people who work in the industry but not be as well-known as some others?
Yeah, I think it's exactly to sort of demystify this industry, right? A lot of people, and sometimes when you work in the industry, you take for granted that you kind of understand how it works behind the scenes. But like many industries, if people don't have those insights, then they think that things are just kind of this black box, right? And it's, okay, well, I load up my sports betting app and I see lines that are up there, and they think they might have some sense of how do the lines get made, right? What does account verification look like? Why am I able to do the things I'm able to do? Why am I able to place certain bets in New Jersey that I can't place in Pennsylvania? Why, for that matter, we take for granted that we understand that this is rolling out on a state-by-state basis, but there are people who are confused why when they drive from Pennsylvania into Ohio, they suddenly can't bet anymore. So I think explaining all of those things and really demystifying this industry is, I think, in a way, we're serving desires of what people are looking for to gain that perspective. But I think we're also sort of helping the industry to advance by taking it and saying this is just like a lot of other industries. And if we can sort of explain those different nuances to you, then people are going to feel a lot more comfortable with it, whether it's betting on sports or working in the industry.
I think it's so great that you're including like a betting 101 session for people attending BetFest. It's such a new industry for a lot of people, and sports betting is such a new topic for a lot of people. Why did you feel that was important to include that, and what can people expect to learn with this betting 101 session?
You know what? I'm glad you asked that. I really have thought this for a while, but I think the point was driven home to me when I was speaking with my dad a couple months ago. So my dad is 69 years old, sports fan. He's not, he doesn't sit down and watch games every day, but he's a sports fan. Sure. And he lives in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where sports betting is legal. And I'm working in this industry, right? And so I'm talking to him. I said, hey, do you have any interest in looking and downloading an app and maybe doing this? And he goes, no, none. I said, well, you don't have to do. It's not like you have to put a ton of money on this, but you can put $100 in an app and put $10 on a game if you tune in at night, and maybe you'll be a little bit more interested. He said, none. And, okay, I'm just curious why. And he goes, well, I don't really know what, there's plus signs and minus signs and he's a bright guy, right? He could learn this pretty easily, but he's just, nobody's explained it to him. So I sit down and I said, well, let me just talk you through what these things mean. And it's kind of all right. And he was, half listening to me, and maybe he's interested in this, maybe he's not. But I think there's so many people out there like him who would say, look, if this was just easy, super easy to understand, if somebody held my hand and talked me through this, yeah, I would absolutely love to throw $10 on a game that I'm watching at night. But nobody's done that. There's plus signs and minus signs and words like money line that don't mean anything until someone explains them. And people don't want to take the time to read through the terms and conditions and read the FAQs and do all of that. So we thought, you know what, if we can take literally 40 minutes, right, and have guys like Ed Miller, who literally wrote the book on some of this stuff, right, and say, Ed and other guys, right, Joey Levy or Simplebet's going to talk to you about this stuff. They're going to tell you what you need to know. We think that you're going to come out of this and say, all right, you know what? I get it. It's not that crazy. It's not that hard to understand. And this is something I'd be interested in doing. So we'll see. I hope the thesis holds, but I think there's a huge opportunity there.
I think that's one of the great things about BetFest is this conference is not just for sports betting experts. It's not for people already working in the field, but it has something for everyone. If you're interested in sports betting but not very experienced in it, it has something for you. Is that one of the challenges for the sports betting community going forward, educating people, which will allow the community to grow?
I think it's the biggest challenge, to be honest. I think that the platforms that are out there now, by and large, are for people who already are inclined to want to bet on sports, but not so much for casual fans who ultimately may enjoy betting on sports, but for whatever reason have not been inclined to download one of these apps. And so, there are folks out there that are working to solve those issues. We have one joining us on our startup panel, Jamie Messler, who was one of the co-founders of Player Tribune and has now founded a company called Gaming Society that's working to sort of speak directly to that group of people. And there's the others too. I think that if you look at I look at the world of potential sports bettors as kind of concentric circles, where you have the inner circle are, right, people who are currently betting on sports, but the outer circle are it's people who are even casual sports fans. Those are potential sports bettors, and it's not because they're going to be betting, hundreds or even thousands of dollars on sports. It's because they are going to casually bet on sports almost the way that I casually bet on Mega Millions when it hits, $500 million, right? I don't consider myself a, quote, lottery player, and yet a couple times a year I play the lottery, right?
Yep.
I think that we'll do the same thing in terms of sports betting, where you'll have people that don't consider themselves sports bettors, but you know what? Like, they watch Steelers games on television sometimes, and when they do, they'd love to throw $20 on who's going to score the first touchdown just to make it a little bit more exciting, right? Or maybe they want to score $20 who's going to score the last touchdown to really make the whole game exciting and keep themselves in it. So I think that our industry has a ways to go in expanding our relevance and to that group of people. And I think that conferences like this and apps like Jamie's and others are sort of the first step along the way of getting there.
Tell us about some of the speakers who people can expect to hear at BetFest.
Yeah, I mean, I've mentioned some of them.
Mm-hmm.
Wayne Kimmel who founded 76 and has been doing in sports tech for years is going to be joining us. Doug Kazarian from ESPN, host of the Daily Wager, is going to be there. We've got some really well-known professional sports bettors, Captain Jack Andrews, Rufus Peabody is going to be there, Bill Krakenberger. So we've got a bunch of folks lined up, and as well as people from some great companies. We've got, HR folks from Penn National Gaming and FanDuel coming on board, odds makers from Boyd Gaming and BetWorks. I mentioned, Temple University is going to be there talking about their programming. I think we've got a bunch of great folks. I'm really excited. We've got our Betting 101 panel is going to be moderated by Stephen Andrus, the managing editor of TheLines.com. They're really excited to be joining us and helping because they do a really good job of putting out content to help people get acclimated to betting. And I think he'll do a great job of hosting the Sports Betting 101 discussion. I could keep going. We've got folks from Epic Bricks Management talking about what they do on the responsible gaming side. I would just encourage anyone who's interested in this to go to betfestlive.com. We've got our roster of speakers is getting updated, literally daily. Because as people are finding out about this, we're even getting people coming to us saying, I'd love to be a part of this. And so we're sort of making opportunities available for them to do just that. So if you go to betfestlive.com, you can get your tickets there, but you can also learn a lot about the event and who's going to be there and what we're going to be talking about.
One of the great subjects that's going to be discussed at BetFest is how a person would go about getting a job in the sports betting industry. I know a lot of people want to get involved in this industry, and I think it's great that BetFest is presenting a guide on how they could actually work in the sports betting industry. Tell us a little something about that.
Yeah, so we've got Insight Global is coming on board. They do a great job of sort of making jobs available, the existence of jobs available to people who are seeking them out. But they're going to be hosting a great panel with Ali Bassman from Penn National. Laney Cooney is the Chief People Officer at FanDuel. And George Deemer from Temple University School of Sport, Tourism, and Hospitality Management. And I think that's going to be a fascinating discussion because people are going to be coming at this from very different angles, right? Some people, and I've had these conversations one-off with a ton of people that are working in sports but want to get involved in sports betting. And they say, right, like, what's the best opportunity to do that? People that are in school right now or might be looking to go back to school. Maybe they have a bachelor's, but they want to get in a more advanced degree, and they're looking at sports-related programs and saying, what's the best way to go about doing that? What would I learn in a program like yours, and what jobs are sort of available to people like me after I come out of them? But then to hear from literally two of these companies themselves, right? Like FanDuel, and Penn National, you guys are the ones who are hiring people. Like, who are you hiring? What are you looking for? Are you looking for, experience in the industry? Are you looking for experience outside the industry? Are you looking for a cultural fit? Are you what is it that you are looking for? I mean, who better to speak to that than the people that are like literally running these hiring programs for gaming operators, right? So again, that's kind of what our thought was here is when you said like, why are you bringing in, sports bettors themselves? Well, like, that's who we want to hear what sports bettors want. And right, like, let's hear from them. We want to hear what companies want. Let's hear from them. Like, let's bring in the experts on this and have them talk to everybody about, like, you want to hear it, like, hear from them directly. You don't need to hear me talk about it, right?
I know in my home state of New Jersey, there's a lot of job fairs going on. I know the Casino Control Commission just had one, and some casinos in Atlantic City are hiring a lot of people. Is the sports betting industry seeing an employment boom with all the new states coming on board with sports betting?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a hiring boom going on in part because for a few reasons. One is that this is expanding out across more states. Secondly is because you have companies that are looking to gain a bigger footprint within the United States, companies coming from Europe that are looking to maybe hire a base of people over here. You've also got a lot of money that's coming into these companies, right? Companies that have gone public in recent years, companies that are getting significant private investments. And so, and lastly, because this industry has been fortunate to be able to exist in online channels, as I spoke to earlier, I think it's one that's seen growth in spite of the pandemic. So when you add all of those things together, this is an industry that's sort of uniquely poised to be hiring now, and knock on wood, will continue to be into the foreseeable future. So we think that this is an industry. I mean, time will tell, but I think if you look at the number of jobs in this industry now and what we're teed up to have in the next 5 to 10 years, hopefully we're just scratching the surface.
Now, I know BetFest hasn't happened yet because it all happens on May 15th, but what are the future plans for BetFest? I mean, do you hope this will be a yearly event? I mean, where do you want BetFest to go from here?
Yeah, the biggest thing, what we want to do is bring BetFest to be live and in person. Because as great as we think this will be on May 15th, it's going to be a 5-hour virtual event starting at noon Eastern. As great as we think it'll be virtually, we think it'll be even better when we can do this safely in person. And so our hope is, whether it's later in 2021 or in 2022, to have this event in at least 2, if not more, locations across the country, where we can bring people in and have it really be a great convention, right? Think about what other industries have been able to do, whether it's, auto shows or comics or the like. We think that we can do something similar, in a similar vein, around sports betting, and having all kinds of fun events that sort of go along with some of the speaking engagements themselves. And so we think this is going to be a lot of fun here. It's not just going to be your typical, 5-hour webinar type of thing. This will be very, very different, because that's the point. It's supposed to be fun and engaging. But what I think we're able to do virtually, we're going to be able to do even bigger and better when we're able to do it in person. So that's the future of BetFest. Hopefully in the not too distant future, we'll see what COVID brings. But I would think by next year at the latest, we'll be able to do that.
Evan, we're running out of time, but remind us once again, if someone wants to get involved and attend BetFest, what's the website they go to, and how do they sign up to attend the event?
The website is betfestlive.com. It's going to be, the event's on Saturday, May 15th, starting at 12 o'clock Eastern. And there is a bright orange button on the website, Get Tickets. So you click right there, and it'll take you exactly where you need to go. Couldn't be more excited for this event. Thank you so much for having me on board. And, hopefully your listeners are as excited about this as I am.
Evan Davis, Managing Director of 76 Capital Sports Advisory. Thanks so much for coming on and telling us all about BetFest, which is being held on May 15th, and you can check that out on betfestlive.com. Sounds like it's going to be an incredible event, so everyone who's interested in sports betting should check it out. Thanks a lot, Evan, for telling us about it.
Thanks again for having me.
Stick around. We'll be right back with more Turnpike Sports. It's getting warmer outside, and the action is really starting to heat up on the tables at Party Poker in New Jersey. Sign up with code EXIT7A and take advantage of Party Poker's new sign-up offer of $25 free, plus a first deposit match up to $600, and start playing poker online today. Daily tournaments, cash games, sit-and-goes. The Party Poker U.S. network offers players an opportunity to participate in their favorite poker tournaments online every day, all day. And don't forget about their Sunday tournament featuring $35,000 in guaranteed prize money. So head on over to nj.partypoker.com and sign up today with our promo code EXIT7A. New customers get $25 free when registering, plus you also get a first deposit match up to $600. That's code EXIT7A to get your $25 free when registering and your first deposit match up to $600. The cards are in the air at partypoker.com in New Jersey. Must be 21 and over and located in New Jersey. New patrons only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
We'll get right back to the show, but I want to take a minute to talk to you about Bean Genius. How would you like your coffee delivered right to your door every month, maybe 2 times a month? Well, now that can happen with Bean Genius. Bean Genius sells freshly roasted coffee from some of the best independent coffee roasters in the country at beangenius.com. And Bean Genius actually learns their customers' individual taste preferences, then suggests future coffee blends for them. Well, how do they do that? Well, this is the cool thing about Bean Genius. Over at beangenius.com, they use an algorithm which learns the coffee flavors you like and then pairs up what you like with the coffee that they have in stock. And it's all based upon you. Every time you order, the system learns. The system learns your preferences as you go along and order more and more coffee. And now, all our listeners at Turnpike Sports can get a special offer. You head on over to beangenius.com/subscription, and you'll be able to get 10% off your purchase when you use our promo code PIKE, P-I-K-E, at checkout. That's 10% off at beangenius.com/subscription with promo code PIKE, P-I-K-E. beangenius.com, the smart specialty coffee subscription service.
Unlock your best self with the Life Hack Pack from More Labs. Use promo code Radio15 at morelabs.com to get 15% off your first purchase of the Life Hack Pack or any of their other great products. That's promo code Radio15 to take advantage of this great promo of 15% off your first purchase at morelabs.com. The Life Hack Pack from More Labs. Drink smart with morning recovery, sleep easy with Dream Well, and get more done with Liquid Focus. You can finally do it all with help from More Labs. And By the Numbers is sponsored by Play Sugar House Online Casino and Sportsbook in New Jersey. Sign up at playsugarhouse.com/pike and get a first deposit match of up to $250. Enjoy the casino experience online. Play Sugar House offers over 400 games online, slots, table games, hey, even bingo. It's like being in a casino without leaving your home. That's playsugarhouse.com/pike to get your first deposit match of up to $250 today. Must be 21 years or older and physically present in New Jersey. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit 800gambler.org.
And welcome to this week's edition of Turnpike Sports By the Numbers, where I throw out a number to Dave and let him guess what the number actually represents, and then we let the number tell the story.
I usually get it wrong, by the way, so
but the story is always pretty interesting.
I'm really bad at it.
Well, we're going to start off nice and easy. 2.
No way. That's too small of a number.
It's the number of jackpots that recently happened.
This
is a casino-themed.
I heard about one. One is it was a Wheel of Fortune machine, right? I don't know about the other one, but I know one was a Wheel of Fortune machine.
It was the Wheel of Fortune slot game over at Red Rock Casino.
All right, yeah.
They were celebrating their 15th anniversary this year. And a visitor from Arizona won more than $600,000 on a $1.75 bet.
Wow!
Actually, the overall number was $603,644.67. That was the payday from a $1.75 spin on the slot machine Wheel of Fortune.
Okay. I knew about that one. I didn't know there was another big jackpot.
Well, that was a physical slot machine. We're going on the East Coast now, and we've got an online slot.
Okay, so the Wheel of Fortune was physical.
Red Rock Casino.
Red Rock Casino. And now you're saying there was an online slot win.
We are going over into Pennsylvania, the Keystone State.
All right.
Unibet Online Casino has a online slot called Mercy of the Gods.
I've never heard of that one before.
It's actually a very cool game.
Really? I got to check that out.
Greek mythology, all that stuff. KS from Reading, they did not disclose the person's name, so they're using their initials.
Okay.
From Reading, Pennsylvania, I'm assuming she was sitting at home or he was sitting at home, and had a free spin on the Unibet Online Casino.
Oh, wow. They won on a free spin, huh?
They won $266,000 on a free spin.
Wow. I got to tell you, when I win free spins, I'm so excited. It's such a great thing. You know, in New Jersey, I start off my morning with who has you can win free spins from either Virgin or Tropicana. I think probably both.
You also have Borgata, too, doesn't it?
Yeah, they sometimes you can win free spins there. Probably all the online casinos you could win free spins, but it's such a fun thing. You know, hey, you've won 5 free spins. Great, all right.
It is a great way to start the day, isn't it?
Yeah,
when you get something for free.
Boy.
Well, we've got 2 big jackpots. We're going to move over now into another segment of numbers here. 115.5, and I rarely do points. Anything.
The point thing is throwing me off.
115.5.
I don't know. The 0.5 thing.
I will narrow this down for you. It is related to a sport.
Well, I would say the speed of a race car. I know I'm wrong on that, but
speed is right. Race car is wrong.
Wrong. Okay.
It is the exit velocity in miles per hour of Mike Trout's 5th home run of the year.
Wow. Okay.
115.5 miles an hour.
I'm usually not a big analytics guy, but that's interesting.
Considering the micro betting markets now with all of this stuff going on.
I have never bet on something like that.
They don't have these bets yet in terms of exit velocity, but they're coming. They got to be coming soon. So
I'm starting to see the graphics. You know, when I'm watching baseball and they show the the home run, the replay of the home run. It's like golf too. They have the trail. They have the trail going. They have the trail of the bowling ball. Yeah, yep. I see that. And then they have, especially for baseball, they have the launch angle too. Yep. That's another thing that they big on in baseball.
Well, even if you look at some of the NFL broadcasts, the next gen stats where they have how long the quarterback's in the pocket, you know, the time, and also the velocity of the ball being thrown to a receiver.
Yeah.
All these stats add up to a lot of betting information down the road here.
You know, this week there was some. I think there was a betting alternative broadcast somewhere. I wanted to try and check. I don't. We might be talking about that in the book report.
That's basketball.
So, are you going to talk about that later? No. Okay.
I'll mention it. But really, it was another betcast.
I missed it. I wanted to see it. I wanted to see how they do it because I've seen a couple of them and they all kind of do it in a different kind of way. And I wanted to check that out. I think that was.
It was a basketball game with NBC Sports Edge Chicago with PointsBet.
Okay.
NBC Sports Edge did the golf tournament that way, too, way back.
Yeah.
The Waste Management Open
with
PointsBet, which was very well done.
That was fun to watch.
Yeah. But this one was the exit velocity of Mike Trout's 5th home run. The Yankees' Giancarlo Stanton has the hardest hit home run since StatCast started tracking, and that was since 2019.
Okay, what number is that?
That number?
Yeah.
121.7 miles per hour.
Wow, okay. That kind of puts the 115.5 into perspective. Okay.
And
so the highest ever recorded was Giancarlo Stanton at 121.7.
Right.
Okay.
And this was back in August of 2018. I said 2019. I meant to say 2018.
Okay. All right. All right.
Just a little betting information. Even though Stanton has the hardest hit homer in StatCast history, he is not even in the top 5 for betting odds for MVP. Trout is leading in a couple different sports books as the favorite for American League MVP. He's at plus 220 over at William Hill and PointsBet, plus 225 at Play Sugar House, and I believe BetMGM had him at plus 200 too.
Okay.
The second most favored for the American League is Ohtani.
He's having a very good year. Hopefully he stays healthy.
Well,
which is an issue for him, but
he's a dual threat guy. He's a pitcher and a hitter, and
which, by the way, they're
are they babying him even more because they kind of want him to last?
They're
a little
both
bit?
on the Angels, so
yeah.
Kind
of an interesting little competition between those two.
Yeah,
see who's going to be MVP for the American League there. 3.
Okay, first we had 2, now we have 3.
Yes.
With the no, it's too small of a number for me to even wrap my head around. Well, okay, 3. What is 3? I don't know what 3 is.
It was the number of new coaches introduced in a 5-hour span by Costa Rican soccer club Deportivo Saprissa. 3 coaches in 5 hours.
Really? Okay. All right, you're probably going to have to explain that one a bit.
We'll walk you through it.
All right.
Manager Roy Myers was fired after going 0-11. As soon as he was fired, club president Juan Carlos Rojas declared that former player for that team, Mauricio Wright, would step in as coach for the rest of the season. Okay, there's one.
Okay, he's kind of like the interim coach.
40 minutes later came a statement from the club that Marco Herrera would in fact serve as coach, with Wright as his assistant.
Okay, that's number 2.
That was 40 minutes later.
That was number 2. All right.
4 hours later, the team issued another announcement that Wright would indeed be the head coach.
So they went back to Wright this time. Okay.
Now, unfortunately, they're going to have to go with the other guy anyway for at least a game because Wright was suspended for 1 game. So he can't do anything.
You know, why didn't they just take a day, figure it all out, and just make one announcement? What was the rush for the announcements?
Fun that way.
What was the rush for the announcements? Take one day, figure it out, take a deep breath, see where you're going, and make the announcement.
Well, you got to wonder how angry the owner of the club was to fire him and then announce it that quickly. Yeah. You know, but anyway, that's what happened. 3 coaches in a span of 5 hours. Actually, 4 if you want to count the guy being suspended for a game.
Yeah.
Last number for the week, $40 million.
$40 million.
This is I found very interesting.
Is that a dollar figure?
That's a dollar figure. It's the amount of a bonus pool of money set up by the PGA Tour to reward the pro golfers, generating buzz for the tour, the tournaments, the league, whatever you want to call it, on social media.
You know, kind of a good idea. I think it's a really good idea. I know a lot of the professional, teams and things like that have the social media managers. Now, this one is your players are actually your social media managers almost, right?
It will be called the Player Impact Program.
All right. Okay.
And the idea behind this is it will funnel more money to the sport's most recognizable stars, even if they aren't dominating on the leaderboard.
Okay.
So the more active these people are on social media, like Bryson DeChambeau, Jordan Spieth, Tiger Woods, if they're not doing well in the tournament, the more they pump up the tournament, the tour, the event, whatever they're doing on social media, they are in the running for getting a chunk of this $40 million.
I think it's a great advertising strategy.
First, here's how it will break down. At the end of the PGA Tour season, the top golfer makes $8 million. Second place golfer in terms of social media buzz gets $6 million, $3.5 million for third through sixth, and $3 million apiece for the rest who are in this pool.
Now, does it matter if it's Twitter? Does it matter if it's Facebook? How about
Funny
Instagram?
You should say that.
TikTok? I don't know. TikTok is for younger.
The rankings will be determined by an algorithm that measures buzz in a variety of ways.
Okay.
They include Google search popularity, media mentions, exposure ratings from Nielsen, Q scores, their performance on the MVP index. And it's all being determined by a company that was co-founded by Jordan Spieth's father.
Okay,
so
interesting.
I'm assuming there's going to be a conflict of interest waiver somewhere.
Well, yeah, but like I said, this is a great idea. I mean, it really gets the golfers really engaging with the fans, and it's really pumping up the tour. Love it. Good.
Well, this is their response to. I think last year they had some other golf league trying to form that was supposed to do something like this. So they decided social media buzz is just as important as the actual event, and this is a great way to do it.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
And that's it for this week's By the Numbers.
Stick around. The book report's next. We'll be right back with more Turnpike Sports.
Attention Medicare recipients and anyone turning 65. Medicare has approved new benefits not included with original Medicare and older Medicare Advantage plans. You may not be getting all of the benefits you're entitled to, including in-home aids, telephone appointments with your doctors, home-delivered meals and prescriptions. These benefits may be available, and it's a free call to enroll. The new plans may also offer free eyeglasses, free hearing aids, free wellness visits, and gym memberships. Call the Medicare Benefits line now. It's easy. Call 800-217-1797. 800-217-1797. Find out if you're eligible for new benefits like meal and prescription delivery, in-home aids, and telemedicine. Some plans may have a $0 monthly premium or zero copays for big out-of-pocket savings. Not all Medicare Advantage plans are alike. The new plans have more benefits for many people. Call 800-217-1797. 800-217-1797. 800-217-1797.
Turnpike Sports is brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with drizzly.com.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, give us a call at 800-231-9279. That's 800-231-9279. 800-231-9279.
The Turnpike Sports Book Report.
The Turnpike Sports Book Report is brought to you by BorgataSports.com. Your favorite casinos, now your favorite sports book available anywhere in New Jersey, BorgataSports.com. Sign up at BorgataSports.com using our promo code PIKE, that's P-I-K-E, and you get a risk-free bet up to $300 and 20 bonus dollars at BorgataCasino.com. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And we're back with another edition of the book report where we're going to be talking about the normal stuff with the state sports betting handle and revenue numbers. Got deals, launches to talk about. But we're going to start this week again with some legislation. And a couple of different pieces of legislation have made news. And we're not talking about New York this week.
Yeah.
We're going to start talking about the Sunshine State, which is Florida.
I guess that's the big sports betting story of the week, right? Florida, they're, I guess, a couple steps closer to sports betting.
They've got a special legislative session scheduled sometime mid-May, mid-late May, that sort of time frame. But what the big news coming out of the state was that Governor Ron DeSantis and the Seminole Indian tribe have negotiated a new gaming compact.
Which is great.
And as anyone knows, in Florida, you can't do anything without the Seminoles agreeing to it. They run the Hard Rock International brand.
Absolutely.
What they have here is a 75-page agreement. And
it's worth billions. Billions
it very
for
well
Florida.
Could be. Very well could be. But if you thought New York was sort of an interesting way they have that set up, more stuff is going to come out in Florida. But it seems Florida may be following that same model.
Of New York?
Yeah, where they're going to have certain gaming platforms and then skins.
Okay.
So we'll see exactly where, because there's still a lot to unpack with this, and it's going to, by the time this airs, we may even see even more stuff come out about this, especially when it comes to how many skins they're going to have in the state. But the 75-page compact outlines the allowed games, for both sports betting and fantasy sports, as well as casino games. There's also casino expansion involved in this as well, but we're going to focus on sports betting stuff. Legal age for sports betting will be 21. They're going to have problem gambling guidelines outlined in this compact. They're going to flesh them out even more. Not flush them, sorry. Okay. They're going to work out how the Seminoles and the pari-mutuels will work for actual sports betting, both retail and online. Calls for the servers for online betting to be on the tribal properties. Okay. They're going to be doing this compact with the state once it's completely approved. I thought this was interesting. This is another state that's going to allow betting on professional, college, and Olympic sports. All college, all professional, all Olympic sports.
Great.
But no college sports props.
Which means you can bet on Florida State, you just can't bet on a prop for the Florida State
the individual
quarterback.
Players, right?
Okay,
yeah. So there's a lot of states and jurisdictions that have that.
I think that's pretty good. I wish New Jersey had that.
You mean take the step, go to all college sports betting?
All college sports betting, but you're not allowed to place prop bets on the individual players.
It's actually a good compromise.
I like that.
It's a good compromise between the two, and it really doesn't impact the player themselves in single betting, but betting on the sport is a difference than betting on the player, I think, anyway.
Okay.
But again, we'll see exactly where this goes. It's a great first step. A lot of people seem to be surprised with this. I noticed that different outlets are reporting different amounts of skins being online skins, the brands that are going to be paired up with certain things, certain parties to this. But again, all this has to be worked out. I think we're going to see some more after the legislative session in May. And again, this is a compact. It's not legalized yet. Mm-hmm. It has to still be approved by the state, and we'll see exactly where it goes with it. But Florida's moving in the right direction.
Great.
Let's go to our neighbors to the north, Canada.
Okay. Neighbors to the north.
Everyone's been following the sports betting saga that's been going on there. They're finally moving towards single event sports betting. They've always had parlay sports betting.
Yeah, that's the way Delaware used to be for a long time. You couldn't bet on individual games.
Exactly.
It had to be part of a parlay.
Well, they've been, over the last couple of months, the country has been moving forward this bill that was introduced in the House of Commons. And just this past week, the House of Commons passed, or adopted, I think that's what they say up there, they adopted C-218, which is single event sports betting. It's a step in the right direction. It doesn't legalize sports betting just yet. We still got a ways to go.
It's a good first step.
It now goes to the Senate version in Canada. I actually think this is going to be kind of interesting because DraftKings just recently included Canada in some of their deals for fantasy sports and sports betting, and you have the Score Media, which is the home of their home is in Canada.
Mm-hmm. So I love the Score. The Score is great.
The Score is great for both fantasy and sports betting.
Yeah, well, I have the on my phone. I've always had the Score app, and I'm not even talking. That wasn't even the sports betting app of the Score. It was just they had the scores, of course, and then they had the stats, and then they had the stats of the individual players, and they had news, which was it's such a great app. Even before you get the app for sports betting on the Score.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see exactly who's jumping in on this. You know it's going to be the Score is there. Probably the Score has the inside track with a lot of this stuff, but DraftKings is sort of there with their deals with Canada for fantasy sports. You got BetMGM, who is aiming for every country's market share of sports betting. So they're ones to watch. And as this moves along, we'll provide updates in the book report here. A couple of states are drafting regulations already. Arizona has started drafting their regulations.
Good,
They just passed it. They are now drafting. They are moving at light speed.
Two states that are moving at light speed. Well, maybe three. Certainly New York. They're the big story. Florida now the big story. And the two before New York and Florida were really like putting it into overdrive was Maryland and Arizona, because they're making incredible deals. They're making, I think they're probably going to be online before either New York or Florida. Watch for Maryland and Arizona.
I think Maryland's going to be interesting to watch in terms of which casinos are going to be able to launch sports betting first, because the way the framework of their sports betting industry was set up, the casinos that are already in existence have the quicker route to getting sports betting.
Sure.
Arizona, they're there already. Arizona, no one has anything yet for sports betting, so they're drafting regulations. They're still on track for a September 1st launch.
Well, I know in Arizona, DraftKings made a deal with the PGA Tour. So that's
and also FanDuel has the Phoenix Suns.
Oh yeah, no, there you go. Yeah, so the deals are being made. So like I said, I think Arizona and Maryland will probably be the next two states to, you'll see sports betting launch quicker than any other states.
Actually, if you want to compare the two, I think Arizona, in terms of the sports betting partnerships, they have the most. I think team-friendly sports betting legislation, because you're going to see more of the pro teams there,
sure,
and the arenas and the event centers getting sports betting quicker than a lot of other states were allowing them.
Mm-hmm.
So Arizona may be a fun state to watch in the coming weeks here. Let's talk some state sports betting numbers. We have Michigan reporting their March numbers for online sports betting.
Michigan is impressive. Very, very impressive.
Their online sports betting industry is growing leaps and bounds.
Absolutely,
in just their second full month.
Sure.
They had a $359 million handle for the month of March. Now, this is only online sports betting. They already reported their retail sports betting previously. So this is just online. $359 million handle for sports betting. That's a 19% increase from February. That was their first full month in existence. Gross gaming revenue was about $32 million. Adjusted, getting rid of all the promos and the free bets, about $19 million. They have a hold of 5.3%.
Okay.
If you break it down a little bit in terms of who was the leader, FanDuel had the top spot at $107.2 million in handle. BetMGM came in second with 92.6. DraftKings had $76.5 million.
Every time I think of Michigan, I think of MGM, because that's, for me anyway, that's the casino I associate Michigan with. But no, FanDuel is beat out BetMGM, huh?
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
And two little things to note here. TwinSpires came in towards the bottom at a handle of $3.2 million. I'm curious to see how the rebrand is helping or hurting TwinSpires, because they used to be Bet America.
Okay.
And when we get to Pennsylvania's numbers this month and also New Jersey's, this is going to be their first month. Here we're in April. This will be their first month, and it won't even be a full month that they're rebranded as TwinSpires in those states.
Okay.
So, but TwinSpires came in with about 8th or 9th place in the state. Golden Nugget, which is constantly one of the leaders in Jersey.
They're constantly one of the leaders because you can't turn on a television without seeing a
Tillman for
Golden Nugget TV commercial. And I mean, I'm not exaggerating. Maybe I see them 4 or 5 times a day, and it's not even the sports betting part of it. It's the online casino part in New Jersey. Which, by the way, Golden Nugget has been the #1 online casino in New Jersey for, I don't know how many years going now. It's just absolutely stunning what Golden Nugget is doing in New Jersey with online casinos.
Well, in terms of Michigan, this is what I thought was interesting. They are just under $800,000 in handle for sports betting, which is kind of a low number, but again, they're just starting out there too. I think there's a lot of brand recognition going on, and I think once more and more people get used to the sports betting industry up there, you may see some of these numbers start to fluctuate a little bit too. But again, it's the big ones that are taking the market share: FanDuel, BetMGM, and DraftKings as the top 3. Tennessee released their March numbers, a very short report. $205.9 million in handle, $18 million in gross gaming revenue, $3.2 million in tax receipts. That was it. It was a 5-line report.
I got to tell you, I like those reports. I mean, a lot of people in the media and the sports betting media want to see like breakdowns of numbers and stuff like that. But for me, those are the numbers I need. Those are the numbers you should give me. boom, I looked at it, know what's going on in Tennessee, and so I'm not complaining about their short report.
I don't mind short reports either.
Short reports.
I mean, if we were just doing this one topic, it would be a really terrible report because there'd be nothing to talk about other than just rehashing numbers over and over again. But again,
give
short
me
and
the
sweet.
numbers and move on.
Well, going over to here's another one, short one. Arkansas. $5.95 million in handle for the month of March, $807,000 in revenue, $131,000 in tax receipts.
For Arkansas, I guess that's good. I mean, are they happy in Arkansas with that? Because look, when I think of sports betting, I don't think Arkansas. No. But it's $5.95 million they wouldn't have had without sports betting. So, any money coming in from sports betting for the state to help its programs is a great thing.
And no online sports betting.
Well, that's impressive. That's shocking that they got $5.95 million, and you actually have to physically go to the sports books.
Well, let's go up north to New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
$55.8 million handle in March. Online handle was $44.4 million.
And when you say online, you're talking DraftKings because they're the only ones up in New Hampshire, right?
Right.
That's it.
They are. New Hampshire is the model for New York, possibly Florida. Okay,
yeah,
that's what we're going to see. But again, $44.4 million online handle for the month of March, an $11.4 million handle for the land-based sportsbook in New Hampshire. That's a new monthly record for New Hampshire.
Now, where out at New Hampshire are they?
They're in a couple different casinos.
So, all right,
I guess you can call them casinos, right? There's like these little sports betting parlors at some of the old racetracks.
I've never once gambled in New Hampshire. We have an office up in Massachusetts in the Boston area, and I have never traveled to New Hampshire to bet. I mean, we've been to Rhode Island.
Yes.
That's fun, but I guess we got to try New Hampshire one of these days.
And the state of New Hampshire brought in $1.9 million in tax revenue for the month.
Great.
So that's an example of 50% going to the state from the sports betting industry there. Let's see. West Virginia, not really much to report there. They had $43 million in sports betting handle for the month of March. That's up $5 million in February. It's still down from December and January's numbers. We're over $50 million.
Do they still have that very unique sports book where it's almost a private club? What is it? Greenbrier. Greenbrier. Is it still the way it has been in the past? I mean,
yeah, it's still membership only.
When you say membership only, can you purchase a membership for the day kind of thing?
No, but when you book a room there, if you're not a member of the Greenbrier, but if you book a room at the hotel there.
Okay, you're a member if you book a room.
You're a member. A daily member.
You're a daily member
when you book a room. But again, they still have the Greenbrier with, I believe it's FanDuel.
FanDuel, yeah.
So, got some good numbers there with New Hampshire as well as West Virginia. Let's see what else we got before I move on to some of the other deals here. Okay, let's go to some deals because we have a couple launches to talk about as well as deals. We have, I'm moving my notes around, so I apologize for a little delay here. Iowa, Circa Sports, U.S. Bookmaking, and Play Up all got their approvals for launch in Iowa.
I'm waiting for Circa to get to either New Jersey or Pennsylvania.
I'm waiting for Superbook more than Circa.
Yeah, right, because one of these things, a lot of people don't realize about these online casinos and online sports books is, your players club. There are comps associated with these things that you're playing on. So you know what? If you play on MGM in New Jersey, you're going to get comped at MGM across the country,
yes,
across the world. So that's why you love these things coming to a state near you because, first, they're fun to play, and secondly, you got your comp points running up.
Well, that's one of the things where a lot of the loyalty clubs come in handy.
It's great, yeah. Always use them when you're signing up for these accounts.
Over in Colorado, you can now bet on the Professional Bull Riders Association and events there.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. Approved betting market.
Colorado is the place if you want to go bet on table tennis. Yeah. Now, I'm curious to see if bull riding will take the place of table tennis, but I got to tell you, it appears that the table tennis market is very strong in Colorado, so I don't think anything is going to take that away.
Well, you got to remember, the last time Colorado reported the numbers, they had a good table tennis report, but the month after with Oregon did not have table tennis in the top 5 when they were having them number 3 or number 4 for a couple of months.
Yeah, wasn't Colorado number 4 for table tennis?
Yes, but okay. I'm just wondering if Colorado is going to have the same kind of reflection of maybe a table tennis season. Maybe table tennis will be a little lower again because it wasn't even in the top 5 for Oregon.
But no, bull riding should be interesting. I wonder. I've yet to see odds for bull riding.
Well, here are the approved markets. Outright winner for rider. I love this one. The outright winner, the bull.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that's like something where the bull knocks him off before that 7-second
time.
So
you got like $50 on Cupcake to throw the rider off?
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
The outright event winner, you can do head-to-head for the riders, head-to-head for the bulls.
Ooh, nice. I didn't think of that.
Over-under for the times for the rider and the bulls.
I would get the over-under for the times. Yeah, that makes sense.
So those are the approved ones. If you want to offer something different, a sportsbook has to apply to the Division of Gaming in Colorado and get approval for a different market.
I like that bull versus bull. That's interesting.
You know what? I don't watch enough bull riding. And I'm going to have to now.
Well, see, that's what sports betting does. I mean, if you're interested in betting a sport, you tend to learn about it. You tend to get familiar with the sport. You get familiar with the players of the sport or the personalities of the sport, which is great. You'll get to know the bulls and bull riding.
Real quick, Virginia, Unibet Sportsbook got their approval for launch. That's their 4th state. Moving over to a couple of the major deals, we have Sling TV recently announcing the DraftKings basketball betting channel.
Yeah, they're going to have a couple more betting channels, too, right?
Baseball and hockey.
Okay, good.
Caesars completed their William Hill acquisition.
Finally, it took longer than
everybody anticipated.
Well, there was a court challenge to it, but I guess that's all done with.
And DraftKings is now the official, let me get this right, the official sportsbook and daily fantasy partner of the Professional Fighters League.
Okay.
You're going to see a lot of their events at Ocean Casino in New Jersey.
Great.
Two sports betting lounge announcements. We have Betfred, the Betfred Sports Left Field Lounge at the Iowa Cubs ballpark, and the Bet Rivers Lounge at PPG Paints Arena, which is the home of the Pittsburgh Penguins.
That should be a fun time. Pittsburgh is a great sports city, and like when you add sports betting into it, it just tons more fun.
Well, 2 new betting lounges for people who go into the games to watch.
Great.
You actually have to buy tickets to get into both of those, specifically for those lounges.
Oh, okay. You just can't buy. You just can't wander in if you have a ticket to the game, huh?
Right. And Bet Rivers, if you're in the stadium, you're going to be able, if you're a Bet Rivers user, account holder, whatever you want to call them, registrant, you can actually bet on the games as you're watching them, too.
Great.
That's it for this week's book report. If we missed anything in our discussion on the air, it will be on the written version of the book report on the blog. Head on over to turnpikesportsradio.com and click on the blog button, and you'll see all these stories listed on the blog in print form.
And that'll do it for us this week. We'll see you next time on the Turnpike.